Hey, how's it going? It's been a while for Overwatch 2 beta has launched out. And have you got your favorite account? If not, you can find it on edgevault.com. You can see the price is pretty low, it's only around $20. And you can get the fresh account or account with 100 level immediately. Just click buy now. There are many kinds of transaction ways for you to choose. On other websites, you can see the account is quite expensive. It ranges from $40 to $100 or $400. So you can see the most economic way is to go to Guidlines. You can click the link in my description and get the account you want. Enjoy your time. Overwatch 2 is a curious thing. It's a numbered sequel to a beloved shooter that is fast approaching its 6th-year anniversary. But with Blizzard having already announced crossplay between the first game and the second, its hands are seemingly tied to the extent that it can implement truly substantial changes. The result, based on the technical alpha we played, is that Overwatch 2's PvP mode is quite familiar, making the overall game feel less like a full numbered sequel. And yet, I nonetheless had a terrific time and am eager to play more. We've yet to see very much of Overwatch 2's new PvE mode and other areas of the game that may present greater deviation from what Overwatch players are accustomed to. But the overall gameplay remains great. And even it does feel familiar, Overwatch 2's PvP does do more than just add new heroes, game modes and maps. First part, say goodbye to one of your little friends. Overwatch 2's most significant change is the shift from 6v6 matches to 5v5. It sounds like a potentially massive change, but even as someone who has played a ton of Overwatch, I was surprised by just how quickly I become accustomed to the new setup. No doubt, that's due to the fact that you are ultimately still dealing with the same roster of characters doing battle over the same objectives. Seeing a team make a push behind Reinhardt's shield or scramble to deal with a Tracer zipping behind enemy lines is an experience that remains uniquely Overwatch. That's because while we've gotten other hero shooters over the past several years, there remains a heavy emphasis on abilities and distinct character classes. Although 5v5 may not make this feel like an entirely different game, it does bring positive change to the way matches play out. The decrease from 6v6 to 5v5 specifically comes by losing a tank. Teams are now composed of 2 support players, 2 damage players, and only 1 tank. That means that there is not only 1 fewer body to absorb damage, but specifically 1 fewer character designed to do so. Team fights are less likely to devolve into stalemates, where little progress is made, as some players die but are then able to return to the fight before one side or the other can make a real push. The end result are fights that feel like they have a more definitive conclusion than those in the past, and encounters feel all the fresher for it. There are other implications to the changes as well. Effectively flanking the enemy as a damage player can be more devastating and effective than ever, as you are less likely to run into the same kind of brick wall that you would previously. But it also places more importance on team composition and role, as having 1 fewer players means each person's hero choice and decision-making on the battlefield is that much more critical. Because there is generally less chaos and fewer people working toward the same goal as you, there is also more of an opportunity to stand out and really shine, or make a grievous error that costs your team. The alpha test didn't present enough time to fully come to grips for what 5v5 will mean. Balance changes are still being introduced throughout, but more critically, many matches were populated with Overwatch League pros who steamrolled the non-esport crowd like me. That made gauging the efficiency of balance changes rather difficult, while also being a lesson in humility. There is nothing quite like squaring off against a tracer you can't hit, Widowmakers and Annas who don't miss, or solo Lucio who can dance circles around you, making you feel like a small child getting stomped by your older, merciless sibling. Second part, meet Sojourn, a breath of new fresh air. The alpha also featured the introduction of Sojourn, a new damage character being introduced with Overwatch 2. She is a welcome addition to the roster, making the first time a black woman is playable in Overwatch. Despite the roster approaching the 3,000 hero mark, that it's taken this long remains disappointing, and while Blizzard doesn't deserve a round of applause for clearing the bar of having a single black female hero, it's still good to have her here. In terms of how she plays, the level of competition in the alpha makes it difficult to evaluate just how effective she is, but she's undeniably fine. Her kit is relatively straightforward, yet it provides a level of explosive punch that made me have a great time when my ass wasn't being kicked. Sliding down inclines in Apex Legends has been a small mechanic that I've loved for years now, and have eagerly waited for other shooters to steal. And Sojourn features a short-range slide that feels somewhat comparable. Sojourn can even slide on flat terrain, and just as importantly, her slide can be used in any direction, making it effective at engaging or chasing down opponents, backing up while continuing to fight, or launching yourself past a corner. It can also be cancelled early by jumping, launching you high into the air. You are then subjected to gravity like pretty much anyone else. Farah or Echo she is not, but the brief burst present enjoyable opportunities to navigate the battle that few characters are capable of. And she joins the ranks of characters like Widowmaker capable of high-ceiling, mid-air skill shoots that other characters can't pull off. It's not just Sojourn's movement that makes her so much fun to use. Her offensive capability contributes as well. Her primary attack is a pretty standard Soldier 76 style machine gun, but dealing damage with that charges up her railgun alternate fire, which consumes that energy and fires a harder hitting beam. Her ultimate, Overclock, adds auto-charging and allows the beams to penetrate enemies. The interplay between the primary and secondary fires lends a very satisfying rhythm to playing as Sojourn. You spray the machine gun style fire at opponents and are then able to periodically punctuate those with the railgun energy beams, punchy, hard-to-hit shoots that are downright delicious to nail someone with. Third part, refreshed heroes and a new mode, maps and ping system. Sojourn was the only new hero in the alpha, but several other characters have received key changes to how they function. Bastion is the one I spend the most time with, given how fundamentally it's been altered. No longer does it post up in a single spot when shifting into Sentry mode. Now, Sentry mode allows you to move around, but you can only do so for a limited time before reverting to the standard Recon mode, where it functions more like Bastion's Overwatch 1 ultimate ability. As a result, timing is critical, as you will want that high damage form available to you when the right opportunity presents itself. A well-timed flank from Bastion can rip an enemy teams to shreds, something I took great delight in when I was able to pull it off. Bastion also gets a new Giant ability to provide it with a complementary attack, while its ultimate functions like mobile artillery, as you post up and then select 3 areas to fire heavy damage shoots on. All of this comes at the expense of Bastion's old self-heal, which combined with a lack of mobility or escapability when Sentry mode is on cooldown, makes the character heavily reliant on backup from your team. Orisa also sees big change. Gone is her ability to deploy a barrier. Instead, She's given a more aggressive move that allows her to charge forward more quickly while spinning a javelin, destroying projectiles and pushing enemies backwards. I love the wide range of potential uses here. You can stave off a devastating attack from foes by destroying projectiles, or you can position yourself on the other side of an unwitting opponent and push them toward your team to be finished off by heavier damage dealers. Combined with her ultify, which shoots a javelin that both knocks back foes and stuns them, you are able to manipulate the position of enemies in a very direct, satisfying way. I never looked forward to playing as Orisa in the past, but she quickly became one of my favorites during the alpha, so much so that I didn't get to try out Dawnfist, who shifts from damage to tank in Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 also adds push, a game mode in which both sides compete to push a robot further into the enemy team's territory. This happens only if a single team is standing near the robot, meaning you typically need to win a fight in order for the robot to begin pushing in your opponent's direction. Because the robot can be interrupted anywhere, it leads to fighting breaking out all around the map, although there tend to be certain choke points where the action frequently took place. Once the robot has made sufficient progress, one team will unlock a forward spawn point, helping them to maintain their edge by not needing to run all the way across the map after spawning. Setting aside the Overwatch League player-dominant matches, there was a fair amount of back and forth between teams in the rounds I played, though it's often become clear early on who would win, whereas escort matches can often lead to frantic sequences, where one team tries to stop the other from moving the payload that excruciating last few feet to their goal. Push matches rarely have that major exciting inflection point. Instead, you'd have bursts of action followed by stretches of running alongside the robot as it pushes forward. I enjoy the variety of having another mode in the rotation, but I didn't get to spend enough time in competitive matches to get a firm feel for whether it will be one I prefer to the other option on the table, or whether it's balanced to consistently allow for comeback victories. The same is true for the new maps and the ping system. The latter is an enhanced version of what was already in place, letting you quickly convert more information to your teammates with a single button key. An ideal setup for those who would rather stay off mix, but whether it will factor heavily into matches remains to be seen.